We all have habits that are keeping us stuck, and here are some that will be holding you back, and you must quit them now if you want to be a success, if you want to make your life great, if you want to become a better version of you.
Hey, yeah, let's see how you do under pressure.
Hey guys, Brendon Giebel here, and in this video, I'm going to walk you through 3 key points that's going to allow you to let go of these habits that are holding you back, that you've been holding on to, that are sabotaging your success, and sometimes the habits that you don't even know that you have. A lot of people, when I say, these habits, tell me about some of the habits you might have, and they go, oh, I'm not drinking, I don't smoke, I don't do that. I'm like, I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about the habits that you may have under the surface. Your unconscious mind runs 95% of you. So if you are only aware and conscious of 5%, there can be all these different habits underneath the surface. Now, most times the habit is because we're addicted to feeling an emotion. We've got this chemical reaction in our brain, which is called an emotion, and we're addicted to that feeling. Our body sends signals to it, and then that is creating this habit. And so we have a habit of feeling this emotion. We have a habit of sabotaging ourselves. We have a habit of saying the things that we know we shouldn't be doing. That's just a habit. And so in this video, I'm going to take you through the 3 key points that's going to help you identify what they are, replace them, and then allow you to step up and be a better version to commit long-term to different things. And so the first one is identify and eliminate your triggers. Bad habits don't happen by accident. They don't just pop up all of a sudden and go, oh, I've got this bad habit now. It's always been there, right? And so you've got to recognize what sparks them, whether it's the people you hang around with, whether it's the environment that you're in, whether it's the emotions that you're feeling or addicted to, and you've got to cut off that source. But the first step is obviously we've got to find out. We've got to find out what's going on. We don't know what we don't know. Now, there was a time in my life where I really struggled with eating disorders. Binge eating, I was working fly in, fly out, and I'd have like 4 or 5 plates of food, look down and my belly would be all the way out here. And I just was like, why am I eating this food? I was just like, I can't stop it. Like I wanted to stop, but I couldn't. And I was just eating more and more and more. And for some reason, I was like, that pain cycle of doing that and then starving myself, it consumed so much of my mind. And it was kind of distracting me from everything. And it was just a big habit, which I didn't really know at the time. And so as I was kind of going through it and got out and had, different experiences, and then it was still kind of lingering there for a little bit, like this whole eating, this food, relationship with food for me was quite bad for a long time. It's nowhere near what it was before now. I have a good relationship with food now. Pretty much it's fuel, and food always lets me down. Super important, if you're watching this video right now and you're like, this seems like a lot of work, it seems hard, I'm not built like this. Bullshit, that's just a bullshit story you're telling yourself. You've got to train. You can either train or you can play, and there's no in between. Now, we train men like you every single day. Men who want to take their life to the next level, men who want to recreate themselves, men who want to step up as the leader of their family, of their businesses, of their communities, of their companies. And so if you resonate with any of this, down below what you're going to see is a description of this YouTube video, and inside of that there's going to be a link. Click on that link, enter your name, enter your phone number, enter your email address, and my team will personally reach out to you, showing you the 4 steps and the 4 stages that can help you get to where you want to be. So if you're serious about recreating your life, if you're serious about stepping up into the man that you know that you can be, managing your life, managing everyone else's life because you manage your own, then let's do it. I'd love to see you on the inside. It's like, have you ever gone to eat something and you're like, it's going to be so good, and then afterwards you're like, oh, that wasn't that good. I always get let down with food. I'm like, well, I can either eat, KFC, or I can eat a nice chicken breast. What am I going to get let down by? Probably both. So let me choose the one that's better for me. So food is fuel in my world. And of course, sometimes I'll have bits and pieces, and I'll enjoy it. Most of the time, the fast food and all that thing that seems good, if I'm gonna eat something, I want to eat some real nice food, go to a nice restaurant or something like that. So my relationship has changed heaps, and it's by doing this point. It's by identifying and eliminating the triggers. So this is obviously a food habit for me, but it could be different other areas as well. And it wasn't until I started diving in and asking myself the questions. I'm going to give you 3 questions here in a second. that allowed me to find out what was actually going under the surface. And then I knew that the habit of eating was just the habit of a deeper cause. Now there's cause and effect, there's always an effect to the cause. So that means the eating for me was the effect, and there was a cause underneath that. When I took away the cause, the effect was no longer. And so when you can understand this, the habit that you're doing is the symptom, it's the effect. When we can tackle the cause by asking questions, this cause won't be there anymore. And then this symptom won't be here anymore. It's powerful. I helped someone who had a 28-year meth addiction get clean in 2 sessions, and he still is to this day, because we took away the cause. And then the symptom just disappeared. He just literally got up one day and said, I don't need this. He let that other part of him out of the door. And then that was it. Hasn't touched it since. It's powerful when you can work through this core issue, right? And so Socrates even himself said, the unexamined life is not worth living. Most people, most men, do not examine their life. They do not question why they do the things that they do. They just worry about them and stress about them. They don't actually go a level deeper. When you can find the answers, and I have a very good ability of allowing men to get to a place inside of themselves to find the level of truth that they need, because the truth will set you free. It might be dark, but it will set you free. And so a few questions I like to ask, and you might want to write these down, is what is the purpose of this habit? Ask yourself, what is the purpose of this habit? Now, don't say because it's to mess you up, because that's not the case. Everything has a purpose and a reason for it being here. And go deeper. Allow yourself and humble yourself to get a bit deeper to that. What's the purpose of this habit? And for me, the purpose of the habit for me was a distraction. And what was the purpose of that? What was I distracting myself from? The loneliness and the shyness, and how I didn't want to be alone for the rest of my life. It was a deep fear. And so those things were then getting triggered, because it's like, well, this is consuming my whole life. Like literally, I was always thinking about food all the time. I didn't have any space for this. And that is the power in asking. And then when you find that, you can get the answers that you need. So we need to become aware of that first. And the second question you can ask yourself, what feeling is this habit avoiding or covering? You know, you might get very similar answers, but what is the feeling that you're avoiding or you're covering over? You know, loneliness or fear or sadness or depression or rejection or abandonment, whatever it might be. Ask yourself the questions. Quality questions will change your life. And question number 3, what would be exposed if I didn't have this habit? So if you didn't do this habit that you're doing, what would be exposed if that was out of the way? Now, a lot of people, when you ask that question, they go, oh, I'll be able to do this, I'll be able to do this, I'll be able to do this. Awesome. You know why, but what would be exposed when you didn't have that? And that is where the gold is going to be for you. And that leads me to point number 2. Replace weaknesses with strength. You can't just quit a bad habit, right? This happens all the time. Some people try and use willpower to try and quit a bad habit, maybe smoking, for example. Then they might start eating more, they might start drinking more. You really need to replace it with something. And you need to replace it with something that's so much more powerful. You know, swap out the procrastination for action. Swap out the excuses for ownership, full ownership. Swap out the distractions for focus. You know, if you've got a habit of always picking up your phone and checking your phone, or always getting distracted, get rid of the distractions and you'll find that you have focus. But if you didn't know that getting rid of the distractions would lead to focus, you would probably go, well, I don't really see it. I don't really see the purpose of it. So if you go and flip it, it's like, okay, well, if I don't have this, what will I have? Focus, cool. Focus will get so much more done. Same with everything. Action, the ownership, the focus, you will get so much more. For me too, when it comes to food, and I'm continuing on this topic of food, you might be related in something else. There was a lot of times, and this is kind of what got me into this spiral of the eating disorder, was I would tell myself, I can't have this food, I can't have this food, I can't have this food. And I was always focusing on what I can't have. And I don't know about you, but if someone tells you can't have this, you want it more. It's in human nature to want things that we can't have. You know, as soon as they said, oh, no, you can't have this, and you pull it away, everyone's like, oh, I want it now. Why? It's because there's something going on, that fear of missing out maybe, or something like that. So if we understand this, then what we want to do is we want to add things, and by naturally adding things, we will then subtract things. So instead of me going, I can't have this, I can't have this, I can't have this, I should have focused on all the things I can have. I can have this, 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 all of these things. And by focusing on all the things that I can have, then all of the things I can't would just get subtracted, okay? So there's all sorts of other things in your life. You know, we only have a certain level of capacity. And if you fill that capacity up with the things that you want, the good habits, the things you want to focus on, like ownership or action or focus, then all of those things that aren't that are going to get pushed to the side. So rather than trying to take things out and push more in to take things out. Now, Napoleon Hill said, procrastination is the bad habit of putting off until the day after tomorrow what should have been done the day before yesterday. Little bit of a play on words, but pretty much just saying procrastination is putting something off till later on that should have been done now or before. That's procrastination. So if we want to stop procrastination, which a lot of people do, we need to replace that. Action. We need to replace it. So rather than focusing on the things you're procrastinating on, focus on the actions you need to take. And if you focus on the actions, the procrastination will get subtracted. Does that make sense? So once we've eliminated and identified the triggers and we've questioned them and find the purpose of them and what's causing them and what's under the surface, and then we've swapped out the weaknesses by adding our strengths and what we actually want, and which then subtracts naturally, we then go on to point number 3, which is commit to long-term discipline. Now, change isn't about quick fixes. Real transformation, real change happens when you stay consistent, even when the motivation fades. Winners play the long game. And I research a lot of like the financial masters, you know, the guys who have made mega money. And what I found is they sacrifice a lot and they play the long game. A lot of them aren't there watching the charts, you know, every single day, whether it's crypto, whether it's stock market, whether it's that. They're not after the quick wins. They're after the long-term plays. And that's where the discipline comes in. You know, you got to delay that instant gratification. The better you can do that, the better everything in life will be. Now, for me, it wasn't until I started practicing that and I learned that if I say no to something, I say yes to something else. If I say yes to something, I say no to something else. And I make things bigger than what they are. So say, for example, just a small action of making a few phone calls. And if I went, oh, I don't feel like making a few phone calls today. So that means I'm saying no to making those phone calls. I'm saying yes to something else. So I might be saying yes to maybe doing something else in the business, or maybe, you know, anything else. I'm saying yes to that. We get that, which doesn't seem like it's much, right? However, if I know that doing this action is going to get me to my end goal, what I'm really saying no to is that end goal. I'm saying no to my future life. I'm saying no to everything that I want to achieve. And then all of a sudden it's like, oh, I'll pick up this phone. So when we can tie something bigger and make it bigger than what it is, because everything is not just one simple action. Like me sitting here filming this video isn't me just filming this video. It's about me getting to where I want to be in life and bringing it in. Every action has an equal to or greater reaction. And the more discipline we can have of doing the things that we know that we can, and that we know that we should, and that we actually really want to build the things that we want, the more that we can build that discipline, the shorter this time frame is going to come in. Discipline is freedom. I talk about discipline all the time. I think you get that a number of times. And so the more discipline you can build long term, the better your life is going to be. The best thing you can do is set it up, especially if you're investing. Just set up, you know, regular transfers, don't even see it, and just put it away. And in 5 years' time, come back and check it. You'll be pleasantly surprised. Long-term discipline will change your life, and it will allow you to create a life better than you ever thought possible. Now, Confucius said, it doesn't matter how slowly you go as long as you do not stop. There's a story of one of those old school pumps where you had to pump the water up through the bore. And there's a guy and he's there and he's like pumping and he's like going like this. And he's going like this for ages and it doesn't seem to be going anywhere. And there's no water coming up and he's going like this. And he takes a step back and he's like, oh, I don't know. And then the guy he's with said, don't stop, because it's just about there. And then if it goes all the way down, he has to start up again. And so this is the same if we stop. Sometimes we don't know how far or how close we are to where we're going. We don't know how far along this path we are. And it's because we've given up, because we can't see it. So just keep going. Whatever you do, just keep going. It doesn't matter how slowly you're going. Progress is better than stagnation. Well, I think we can understand that. You know, if there's a creek and the water's like slowly moving, it's gonna be all right. But if the water in the creek is stagnant and not working, it's gonna go pretty rotten pretty quickly. The same is true with you. If you aren't moving, you're gonna get pretty rotten mentally, emotionally, internally, if you don't keep moving. Now, Thomas Edison said, our greatest weakness lies in giving up. The most certain way to succeed is to always try just one more time. I love that, and I say it all the time. You know, going through some tough times in the business earlier on, sometimes I'd be like, I just gotta not quit today. I am not gonna quit today. I'm just gonna keep going today. And then the next day, I'll be like, I've just gotta get through one more day. That's it, one more day. And that one more will change everything in your life. Just keep going one more time. And so your habits determine your future. You've either got good habits or you've got shit ones. So cut out the ones that are holding you back, build the ones that are making you better, that are gonna make you unstoppable, and watch your life transform. It's time for you to rise. It's time for you to step up to be a better version. Let me know how you go in this video. Remember, if you need anything, reach out to me. I got you back for life. I want to help you with anything that you need, and I'll see you on the next video. You made it to the end of the video, and you are one of the top 1%ers who get to this point. Now, if you're sick and tired of not growing to the level that you want, if you're sick and tired of being the same spot that you were 12 months ago, if you're like, you know what, I've got so much more to offer, but I don't really know how to get there, then if that is you, down below, book in your call with one of my team. Just enter your phone, enter your email, and enter your number. And hey, look, we can't reach you if you enter details that are wrong. So enter your right details. We'll be able to reach out to you. We'll show you the 4 stages that we take men through that's gonna completely rip you out of your current situation and push you in a new direction that where you want to go. I will push you as hard as I can to get that outcome for you, because I know how much the life is good on the other side of it when we get out of the shit, when we get onto where we want to go. So click the button and I'll see you on the other side.